Chapel and friends. Man, 2 weeks without doing this is a long time. I miss you guys, and I miss getting to do this. We have Jared Trent back with us. Rochelle was going to be with us, but she was feeling just a little under the weather this morning.
Yeah, good morning, guys. Yeah, she woke up feeling a little under the weather, probably just allergies, but just wanted to be sure, get her some extra rest.
Yeah, and I think that's always a good thing. That's part of what we're asking people to do is just take care of each other. I know one Wednesday we're going to have you guys here, and I was feeling a little under the weather.
Yes.
And it was just allergies, but I'd been in a swamp, I was in somebody's swamp cooler, and I think I got some. And every time I talk about it, I cough. It just every time I talk about COVID, I cough.
Yep.
It's just kind of one of those things. I think it's I think we're all so conditioned now. But one of the things that's been interesting is some of the really rural parts of the country, like where I'm originally from, and farm country, and Brenda's from the Midwest farm country. And one of the things that's very very unique here is, for them, they don't see very much of the whole COVID virus. They don't see much of the effect. It's very different for us here because we all know people. Most of us have friends that we've actually lost. And it may not be, there's the reality and then there's the media, but still it's very real. And we've seen a lot of people impacted directly here in this area.
Yeah.
And so, and then, here's you guys, you got three boys, and you got 2 teenagers, and how old's Bronson?
We've got 1 teenager, 1 11-year-old, and 1 6-year-old.
Yeah.
They keep us busy.
So what have you guys been doing here just as a family with all of this?
Well, so with our situation, we've kind of buckled down a little tighter than maybe necessary. But I would rather that than not do enough.
Yeah.
So we've geared back down again. Rochelle's got all set up for homeschooling. Luckily, we've done homeschooling in the past, so It's familiar territory. And I've actually been working the last, yesterday I spent about 6 hours putting together a playground set for the boys.
Wow.
Something to be able to play on, get out, get some energy out, especially the 6-year-old. He's a wild one.
Bronson,
so,
yeah, buddy.
We're just trying to do the best we can to keep the boys busy and happy, and also get them a good education.
Yeah.
That's the one part that we do not want to cut corners on.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, otherwise just hunkering down and trying to do things as a family as much as we can.
What are some of the things that you guys have been doing as a family to fill that time?
So several years ago, we ended up getting a pool from Costco above ground. So the kids all love that. Brian's not supposed to go in lakes, rivers, or streams, so it makes it a little tough.
Yep.
And so the pool becomes a priority.
Yep.
We got the pool set up. We try and do some bike rides and some walks, and that's when we come across you quite often and get to talk. Not as much as I'd like to be doing. Especially now with the summer. With my job, I am busier in the summertime, which is tough because the kids have a lot of downtime.
Yeah.
But as the summer winds down, we're going to get up to the Kaibab, start doing some more camping and hiking. And Brian loves to fish. All the kids do.
Awesome.
Brennan gets a little frustrated with it, but he's got about as much patience as I do with it.
Yeah, if I'm not catching fish, I don't want to be there.
It's not fun unless you're catching anything. So hopefully Jarrett Edwards wants to get together, take us out, and show us how to really do it, and I think they'll have a lot of fun that way.
Yeah, that'd be really rough going out with the guy that has a fishing TV show.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, how privileged is that?
Yeah, what better guy to go out with?
Exactly. So that's so cool, and I know I was aware of one little project that you guys did that's an indoor that you set up, which I thought was a pretty good idea for boys. You want to tell folks about that a little bit?
So we started, thankfully, before COVID hit, setting up a home gym inside, and that was something I've kind of always wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And then I started slowly getting some stuff, and then COVID hit, which I'm glad I got what I did when I did. And thank you, Pastor Manny, for setting us up with a piece of equipment, too.
Oh, man, that was so fun.
Yeah, it kept the boys busy for a while. They've kind of slowly faded off, but I keep getting them back into it.
Man.
And but yeah, it's a good way to kill some time and get rid of some energy as well, get rid of some stress.
Mom and Dad been using it?
I have. Mom's not big on it.
Yeah. All right.
She likes to float in the pool and spend her time outside a lot.
Yeah, and outside is so good.
Yes. Yeah, we've got a decent backyard patio set up, and she likes to go out there and read and meditate and do her thing, which she needs to do. She needs a break from the kids and everything as well.
Yeah. I've been hearing a lot of things, and all of our girls are out of the house. Just so you know, I had a piece of equipment that I wasn't using very much, and so I gave that to the Trents, but they also had an abundance of floor material. And so when they got the abundance of floor material, they got the floor material to me, and I've got a shed where I've got a weight room all set up. And so I was able to put this nice floor in my shed and totally changed the vibe for my shed and really got me motivated, because one of the things I've been doing very faithfully, and fortunately Faith Bible Chapel allows me time to work out, and so I work out mornings. And part of why you hear me coughing here and there is because today was run morning, and so I was out running, and then I had to fish my dog out of the pool. He got in one of the ponds on the golf course, so I had to fish him out. So with my brand new running shoes, so yeah. But I think it's really important that staying physically active, I think is one of the most important things that we can do through the season that we're in right now. And the other thing is outdoors is better than in, especially when you live in a place like this where, if you're in New York City Central Park, that's a different scenario. But for us, we don't have 6 feet around us. We have like 60 plus, and where I go, a lot of times we don't see anybody.
And that's nice.
Yeah, and so we have that privilege, but your body needs sunshine to produce vitamin D, and vitamin D is very important for your immune system. And so you really want to be outside for a minimum of 20 minutes a day. It don't matter if it's cloudy or sunny, but that causes your body to produce vitamin D and helps keep you healthy.
Yeah.
Along with the activity, which of course is good. And of course, I'm number one for me, running's important because I'm getting older, and as I get older, I want to get fatter, and without the running, I would look like Jabba the Hutt. So,
and the physical health and the mental health kind of go hand
really
in hand.
Helps me mentally.
That's what I find with working out is, yes, I feel better physically, but mentally it's just a whole nother step up. Agreed.
And I think that's so important for, especially for you guys, because number one, you got 3 boys, and I was one of 3 boys, and it was rough and tumble all the time.
Oh yeah.
My broken bones were from my brothers, not from other folks. So it was, and I was the oldest, so it was rough and tumble, but I wouldn't trade it for anything, and I love those memories, and I'm very tight with my brothers.
They'd always have your back too, I'm sure. They could beat you up, but nobody else could.
Oh yeah, you fought one of us, you're going to fight the other 2 soon.
Yep, that's how our kids are.
Yeah, one at a time. So yeah, it just and I have no regrets.
That's good. That's good. My brother and I are 9 years apart, so we didn't quite have that relationship,
that kind of
but we've always been really close. He'll call me and talk to me about stuff. I'll talk to him, but a little different, but still real close.
That's cool. And see, and my brother's in the ministry, so he'll call and we'll talk Bible stuff and just have that kind of fellowship. And my sister's part of his worship team. This is all out east, and it's funny because the county where I grew up. I think they've only had like 18 people with COVID.
Oh, wow.
In the whole county, Bradford County. And so, and I think only one of them, they only lost one of them, which, that's sad, and you don't want to lose anybody. But the point is I think for a lot of people, they're having trouble, wrapping their mind around the reality because all they see is the media. And I think for us, it's a lot different because even though we're so rural and so remote, it's, been different story here.
Yeah, we've seen it firsthand how bad it can get and how bad it really is.
Yeah.
Where, like you're saying, other areas, they have few cases. They're watching the news is real bad, and they're like, well, what's going on here? It's not like that.
It doesn't add up.
Yeah, and then they come to an area like this, and they don't have a clue how bad it really is.
Yeah. Because
our area is not on the news at all that I've seen, very little. But it's tough for them.
Yeah, it is, and I know for myself, just as we were saying before this all started, we're ready for this to be over. This is getting old.
Yeah,
and so but I think America needs to take notice and take heed, because I think we as a nation, we can go one of two ways, and I see both. I see people going both directions. One direction is that we can truly humble ourselves and seek God and realize that we as a nation have gone out from under his covering and his protection, and as we've secularized and basically excluded any positive mention of Jesus Christ from in any public forum, I think that basically, God just kind of stepped back because we asked him to.
Yeah.
And I mean, not me personally and not you personally, but as a nation.
Yeah.
And as we step back, other things come in and fill that void. And I think that we in the Western democracies, as we've pulled away, I think that's I think God is trying to call us back. And my hope is that America will truly humble themselves and pray. Jack Brewer, that's been he's a former pro football player and a conservative, but he's been really saying, we as a nation need to get back to God, and that the violence and the things that we're seeing are directly related to the distance that we've as a nation have really kind of fallen back.
Yeah, I could see that. Definitely. As we get further and further away from God as a nation, things get worse and worse.
Yeah.
And he needs to be put back in the center as the foundation and hold those firm values.
Yeah.
And I think that'll stop a lot in itself.
I agree. And I think that what we see is this, lawlessness and rebellion that has just really taken root. And what's sad is it seems that the media actually promotes it.
Yeah.
And glorifies it. And so it just really, especially as young as your boys are, will there be an America for them to actually grow up in? And that for me is a concern. It
is. And it took me getting a little bit older to realize that. I remember my dad always telling me how things have changed.
Yeah.
And I always looked at it as, Dad, it's a new day and age. We adapt. We overcome things, which we do. We're very good about that.
Yeah.
But I do see now where the changes are happening to where I do worry about my kids and their future.
Yeah.
It's kind of a scary thought,
It really is.
That's where I hope people pull God back into the picture and rely on him and just trust him that he'll take care of us.
Absolutely. And I think that's the biggest thing, is that we, I don't know how God does it a lot of times, where there have been times for Brenda and I, where mathematically, where we were really setting out to do what God has called us to do. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. My runner's cough here.
No worries.
But in the midst of that, we financially we didn't know how we were going to get from point A to point B when I was in grad school. But God always found a way, and there were times where mathematically it didn't necessarily add up. And I think it's so important for us as people to stop and realize that God has a way of providing every need, and it's just learning how to be faithful and trust him in the midst of all this. And wherever God takes us, even as a nation, that's where we need to really stand, is that God is real and alive. And when we are committed to him, then, he's even more committed to us. And that's the key, because I think there's another part of the country that you can either get, you can either humble yourself and really seek his face and try to commit yourself fully to him, or the other direction people go is the opposite direction.
Yeah.
And they get angry and offended and hostile. And I think that's what we're seeing nationally, is that there's a real divide, a split. And it's so important for us as the people of God to pursue God wholeheartedly. But the thing about that is that when we're pursuing God wholeheartedly, then we're also bringers of reconciliation.
Yeah.
And so I think that's going to be, our role as God's representatives, regardless of where things go. And I think that's just going to be absolutely essential. So you guys, as far as spiritually, with your boys, and I know, you guys are really committed to bringing your boys up to know the Lord. What have you guys been doing on that front since, with and just to give you a little background, if you didn't happen to watch when Jared and Rochelle were here, is that their middle son Brian, his liver failed a couple years ago, and so he had to have a liver transplant, and I had the privilege of being with him in the hospital when that happened, and it was miraculous. And I think 45 minutes later, we wouldn't have Brian with us. Yeah. If that would have arrived 45 minutes later, but in the but we got to see God do an incredible miracle. Brian's doing fantastic, but consequently, because of the they have to suppress his immune systems to keep the liver, otherwise your body will want to reject the liver. And so consequently, they have to be very careful as a family to protect him. Mm-hmm. And so with that, a lot of us have to be careful, but for them, they've got to be really careful. And so consequently, we try to take extra caution when we're together. But what have you guys been doing then on the spiritual front? Because that's really kind of kept you out of church for a while. It has.
And if it wasn't for the media team and putting the streaming online, we would have missed a ton. In the beginning of it all, we didn't have access to the online media like we do now. You guys stream on 4 platforms, I believe, now. Yeah. And so back then, my wife she liked Joyce Myers, and I've always liked Joel Osteen, and so we would watch their sermons, and then once we were able to find you guys online and do that, we started watching Faith Bible Chapel. We just really enjoy it, but in the beginning of it all, Bible Chapel was really good about cleaning the cry room for us, and so we would sneak in during worship, after everybody would get in, and then we'd sneak out right at the end of the sermon. Yeah. Unfortunately, kind of avoiding people for the contact, which is hard for me. I'm a people person. Yeah. I just like talking with people and creating relationships. Yeah. But as far as now being at home, we do our streaming. We've got our devotionals that we do. My wife is really good with her devotionals. I'm kind of scatterbrained, and I have a tendency of getting off of my devotional some, but she's there to keep me on track and get me back at it. With the boys, they've all got different Bibles to suit their age. Bronson is 6 now, so his reading he's learning how to read, but his comprehension isn't quite there yet. Yeah. So I'll read to him at night. Some nights he'll want me to read the Bible to him, and he goes for that, which I love. Other nights I'll tell him, all right, let's read another story out of your Bible, and he'll want something different, which I don't pressure it on him, but I do like seeing that he can think for himself with that. The other 2 boys, we have time set aside, 20 minutes a day, that they do need to read. Sometimes they'll grab their Bible and read. Sometimes it's other books, But we spend Sundays to dedicate a lot of our time to the Lord, the day of rest, and just as a family, And I'm very grateful that we can do that. Yeah. So years back, let's see, I've been working for my boss now for 5 years, and before that, you wouldn't even be able to see me in church on a Sunday, because of my work schedule. So we've been very blessed with this new job to where I've got most Sundays to be able to spend with the kids. That's awesome. And with God.
And that's really cool. One thing that one of our guys made me aware of is that there's a really cool Sunday school program that on YouTube available, so that you can actually have like a children's church in your home, and it's about 20-25 minutes, and they have object lessons and projects, and so I'm gonna just kind of step away from my table for just a second and get that, because I think that's just such a great resource, and I want people to be aware of it.
And that's good to know, because that was one thing that we loved about coming here, was having the kids of different ages, and then having the youth group too, that they all had somewhere to be, something geared for their age of learning. Yeah. Where with the streaming, with not having that, they tend to get a little bored watching what the adults are watching. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is dealing with that comprehension level and attention span. Yes. And this has been really, really good. So let me see here. So
let's see. And so, yeah, so it's Kids Church Online, and it's on YouTube. So,
Okay.
So Kids Church Online, and
You'll have to forward that to me.
so yeah, I'll do that here. So, and I always struggle with how to do those things here. So, so I'll get with Al, and
we'll do that after this.
Yeah, but I know I want to make this available to, and so just for those of you out there with your children at home, is Kids Church Online with YouTube.com, and so and I just encourage you to go after that and just really give your kids something good on Sundays, and I mean, and if you look at it ahead of time, so that you have any material that the project may have on that the project may require. So if you just take a little time, make sure and do a little preparation so that you're ready, and then you can take your children through Kids Church Online with YouTube, and really keep them going forward.
That's cool. That's good to know.
So yeah, and once we get off here, and we'll try to make that available to you guys on the website and get that information to you, so that our kids can continue to have good teaching and get grounded in the Word of God. So
yeah, get them to build a good solid foundation.
Yeah, and that's just so fundamental, because kids go on journeys. Unfortunately, they go through their times where they're trying to figure out who they are, and sometimes they'll take on different types of, well, maybe I'm this or maybe I'm that, and then you got to walk with them through that. And having had three come up in my house, we've been through some of those, and I want you to be aware that sometimes kids go on those journeys, and the main thing is to hang in there with them. Don't freak out, but love them, be firm, be strong, and walk them through, and then keep them around the other people that influence them in the right direction.
Yes, and that can be tough.
Yes,
but
it is.
We've got that with a teenager in the house now, and I remember people constantly tell me, wait till the teenage years.
Yeah.
And it's not that they're necessarily bad or anything like that. It's just they are trying to find themselves, and that's the changes they go through, where 1 week they're into this, the next week they're into that. And you're like, who are you?
Yeah, who are you, and what'd you do with my son?
Yeah, but you keep on them, support them, and lead them in the right direction, and they'll remain the same.
Well, and that's the thing, and just being, being faithful. Number one, the faithfulness they see at home, I think, is so absolutely essential, and none of us are going to do that perfectly. So be aware of that. I think yours and my personalities, I think, are pretty similar. We both love being around people. Mm-hmm. We're not routine, everyday kind of people, and so consequently, things are moving for us.
Yes.
But so I think that's going to be the main thing is for us is when they see that consistency, first and foremost, that in the house and the way they're loved, disciplined, and treated, but then they see that discipline as far as your own service and worship in relationship to God and encouraged in that direction. It makes a big difference.
That's another thing too now, day and age. A lot of the time I would just refer to my phone here, open up my Bible app, and I would start reading or doing my devotionals. Yeah. Well, my kids don't know the difference of what I'm doing on my phone. So my wife especially decided, and I've tried to do it with her, when we go to read our Bibles, let's grab a good, solid paper Bible. Because now the kids can see that. They know what we're doing. They don't think we're on Facebook or Instagram or playing a video game or whatever. They know. And it makes it easier for us, too, because then they know if we are reading, they can come up and talk to me. But let me acknowledge that you're here first. Don't come running up. Give me a second, and then we'll talk. But the
that's
phones,
a good thought.
They're great to have if you're away from a Bible. But we've noticed that we want our kids to see us in the Bible. Yeah. They have no idea what we're in when we're on our phone. Yeah, or on my iPad. Yep. And I mean, I didn't go to my devotions on my iPad until we were empty nesters. But so that hadn't even occurred to me. I'm really glad that you brought that up. And so because that's the thing is that, I mean, it's going to be an interesting season. We're opening up the church this Sunday for folks who are in a good place, and we'll be doing CDC recommended. We're going to encourage people to use masks, and
and we've got every other row blocked, and
Yeah, I see
then
that.
ask people to have a couple seats between them and their neighbor, and if you're there as a family, you all sit together. That's not the issue. But the thing is that I think things culturally are shifting as far as how church is going to function. And of course, folks who are high risk, they're going to be, we're going to have to see things get better yet. And,
Yeah.
and Arizona is definitely in a better place than we were 2-3 weeks ago. And Coconino County is better too. And I've been following that and tracking that. And so their county website's a really good resource. But and they actually have figures for Page and how Page is doing. And so, and I can show that to you once we're done here. But that's the thing, that's the thing that we want to, is it's important for us to understand that Christianity is practiced in the context of relationships. And so we have to keep our relationships, and we've got to be intentional about keeping relationships. One of the fun things that's happened, because you guys and we just live down the street about 4 or 5 blocks.
Yeah.
And same street, same side of the street. And I have a very engaging dog who's about 22 months old. And
very friendly.
Yes. And he literally sits over the wall by the sidewalk. So people will come by and acknowledge him and pet him, and including other dogs. And so he has dog friends that he sees there at that wall.
Good.
And but consequently, we've just kind of run into each other, and we usually take time and hang out, and we've done that, and outside, mostly outside, really.
Yeah.
And I mean, but just really keeping those relationships open and intentional.
Yeah.
Because and especially for folks like you who you have to be more protective.
We do, and that's where I'm horrible with talking on the phone. I'm not one to pick up the phone and call somebody and say, "Hey, how you doing?"
Mm-hmm.
But if I run into them somewhere, I could talk for 30 minutes to an hour, no problem.
Yeah.
And so that's where it's nice to run into you and be able to talk.
And that's the way I am. I don't enjoy talking on the phone.
Mm-mm.
I do better with FaceTime or something like that where I can see a face. But I'm not a person who likes to talk on the phone.
No.
And so that's really been that's been a struggle at times. And I try to call, especially some people who are more at risk, to try and keep in touch. But it's really really tougher.
Yeah, it is.
When there's no face there,
I know.
So, shoot, but man, I just really appreciate your coming down and being part of this. And
appreciate you having us.
So,
me again this time.
Yeah, I know it.
We'll do it again, and Rochelle will be back. She was looking forward to it. So.
I just know we'd been a lot prettier up here if she'd have been with us.
Yeah.
I'm just saying we'd have been a lot prettier. I mean, I was trying to get Al up here, but he took a pass. That was a hard pass, actually. Yeah.
And Rochelle gets so nervous to be up here, but she does so well.
Yeah.
When she's here, she does good. Yeah.
Once you get her talking.
Oh, yes.
Yep. And so I know God's done some great things in her heart as she's seen God come through for you guys in this whole process. And so, but man, we just hope all of you are doing well out there. We're praying for you guys, and we love having you with us. We pray God blesses you. I'm so glad for you guys because you guys have stayed healthy and well, and really, from what I can tell, you guys just are doing great.
Yeah, and we're very grateful. That there's one kind of a silver lining with all this. My wife just talked with transplant team yesterday, and they have not seen very many transplant patients.
Yeah,
they're pretty sure part of that is because as a family, we're already equipped and have the knowledge on germs, washing your hands, wearing the masks, and doing stuff. Mm-hmm. So ideally, we were set up to protect ourselves ahead of time.
Yeah.
Which, as scary as it is that to get it, we're safe about it. And it's all we can do.
Yeah, you got to take what you get, right?
Yep. Follow the guidelines, do what we can.
That's it. So I just really appreciate you being with us this morning, and
thank you.
And hope all of you have picked up some keys as we navigate what's left of this season. I hope and think that we're on the downhill side of it.
Yeah, and I pray so.
So me too. And so but God bless you all, and I hope you have a great day.